You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. Safe in God's Love, Part 1. Some years ago there was a movie that came out set in Alaska called The Bear. Sort of one of those Disney type animal movies. It was a classic story. A tiny bear cub is left alone because its mother dies in the wilderness. And when you're viewing this, you realise that this little cub's chances of surviving are nil. And then something unexpected happens. A massive brown Kodiak bear, one of the largest bears in the world, a big male bear, comes and adopts this little tiny helpless cub. And this giant bear is always watching over this little cub and protects it from a particular mountain lion that's roaming around and wants to tear this little cub to shreds, and would have if the Kodiak bear wasn't there. So a wonderful relationship was formed between this large bear and the tiny little cub. He teaches it how to fish and how to stab at a fish. He teaches it how to scratch its back on a tree and how to grow properly as a bear and to do all the things that big bears are supposed to do. Then one day they seem to get separated. The little bear can't see his father bear anywhere, and the mountain lion finally sees his opportunity. He comes in swiftly and silently towards this little cub, and they are there face to face. And if you can imagine the scene, the mountain lion is about to end its life. And they both know this as they're looking eye to eye. And the little bear rears up on its hind feet and tries to growl fiercely, but the best he can manage is a frightened squeak. The camera focuses on the mountain lion, whose face suddenly registers a look of fear. He stops snarling, turns and slinks away. The camera returns to the cub, and he's as surprised as anyone watching this. How could this happen? Could his growl really work so effectively? But then the camera pans back, taking in the larger picture, and we see what we did not know was there. We see what the little bear cannot. Behind the little bear is the great big Kodiak, ready to take a swipe of this mountain lion and virtually kill it with one swipe. Then we know this little bear has nothing to worry about. Here's the point. The cub couldn't see him or hear him, but the father was there all the time. The forest was a perfectly safe place for the little cub to be, even despite its dangers. The father could be trusted, even though he seemed to be absent. There is a great parallel here. When we exist in the palm of God's hand, He knows all about us and is with us, even though we can't see Him. He tracks us down through the ages. At times we try to run away, but as Francis Thompson wrote in his poem, I fled Him down the nights and down the days. I fled Him down the arches of the years. I fled Him down the labyrinthine ways of my own mind and in the midst of tears. And then he says, from those strong feet that followed after, meaning the Lord, but with unhurrying chase and unperturbed pace. David said in Psalm 23, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. When Joshua in Deuteronomy was taking the leadership role from Moses, the Lord Himself goes before you, it says in chapter 31 verse 8, and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. May you know the presence of our great God down through the days and the weeks and the years to come. May you be safe in His hands. God bless you.